Very good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the Uckfield Business Podcast with me, Ian Noble, your Chamber Director here in Uckfield. And joining me on today's show is Claire Allen from Team 4 Bookkeeping, who is also the Chamber Treasurer. Hello, Claire. How are you? Good
afternoon, Ian. Yes, I'm very good, thank you. Feeling like I've got that summer holiday vibe. I know it's a bit weird looking out the window now to say that. I've just come back from holiday and the schools have broken up, haven't they? And I don't know, things feel a little bit more relaxed right now. Certainly they are in the office as well.
So where have you been?
All off.
People say, where have you been? Have you been somewhere nice? Of course you've been somewhere nice. You've been on holiday.
Of course, can't you tell from this fabulous tan? Yes, I was in Greece and you've been away recently as well, I know.
Yeah, I think the last time this podcast was aired live with you and Chris Dowling, which I did listen back to, by the way, I was bobbing about on the Baltic Sea on a cruise ship. So there we go. And we're both refreshed, Claire. We're both raring to go.
Raring to go. You're right there. Yes. So what's happening in Uckfield at the moment, Ian?
Well, it's all a bit quiet on the business front in some ways, but of course KFC's closed, which is probably the big news that everyone wants to know about, which is a bit of a shame actually. I mean, I know major national franchises aren't always welcome in a town the size of Uckfield, but I think it was a nice addition. But it's sad that the franchisee has gone bankrupt, we've heard, therefore it has closed. So you have to get your fried chicken from somewhere else nowadays. But businesses are opening all over the place in the town, and we're still blessed really with a high street that is almost fully occupied. There are some empty units, one or two in particular that have been empty for a while, but I think the commercial agents, Lawson's and Oldfield Smith, do a good job in getting people into those premises as soon as they become vacant. The big news, I suppose, Claire, is we have the Uckfield Business Awards coming up, and people are probably sick and tired of me talking about the Business Awards, and I've been doing so for the last 6 months or so. But they are coming up on Thursday, the 26th of September, in a couple of months' time. And we have a record number of entries for these Business Awards. For those of you that don't know, the Business Awards were started back in 2012 by a guy called Adrian Corbyn, who was well known in the High Street back about 12 years ago. He had his own delicatessen business, and him and I think it was the guys from the Marketing Eye, Neil Edwards and Jan, they started the Business Awards as under the auspices of the Chamber of Commerce, and we hold them every other year, so they're biennial, last held in 2022, and we go again this year with a record number of entrants. And you're a sponsor, Claire, very kindly. Your business, Team 4 Booking. What category are you sponsoring this time round?
So yes, well, I agree. The awards as a whole are going from strength to strength, and I'm very much looking forward to sort of the glittering occasion. But we're sponsoring the Lifetime Achievement Award, which, to my mind, I think is one of the most important awards. Obviously, lifetime achievement it creates so many things that can come into that, and I know we have quite a few entrants to that, so it's quite an exciting award to be looking at. So we are currently reviewing it at the moment, so very shortly we'll be coming up with the shortlists, which we'll present to the judges. Exciting.
Very good. And those shortlists, but from all our sponsors, are due in next week, next Wednesday, the 31st of July. And we're hoping they're all going to come forward. The shortlist of 3 businesses or 3 individuals per category. And Kaylee De Silva and I will be live on Ashdown Radio on Friday, the 2nd of August at 10:30 a.m. when we'll be announcing live on air who the finalists will be for the various categories to go forward to the Business Awards at the end of September. So that's the main business news this afternoon, Claire. We'll get to the other chamber events at the end of the show. But our very special guest this afternoon on this podcast is none other than the town's mayor. And I'm delighted to be able to welcome a good friend of mine, councillor Karen Bedwell, live from her conservatory this afternoon. Good afternoon, Karen. How are you?
Hello, Ian. I'm fine, thank you. Hello, Claire.
Good. That was probably the best introduction I've ever given you, isn't it?
It is. You called me a friend rather than someone you know, so I'm with that.
Yeah, we're getting there slowly. And the other thing that Karen and I have got in common is that we both sit on the Ridgewood Village Hall Management Committee. In fact, Karen's the chair and I'm the vice chair. So we we get involved with that kind of stuff as well. But today isn't necessarily about Ridgewood Village Hall. It's about Karen's role as councillor and mayor. And Claire, you're going to ask Karen the first question, I think.
Well, yes. I mean, Karen, you appear to have an awful lot of strings to your bow, because not only are you town councillor and on the committee for the Ridgewood Village Hall, but I understand you run a business as well. So I just wondered, obviously, I like to talk about business with my business head on. Wonder whether you could tell us about your business, what you do and how long you've been at it and so on.
I think the phrase "jack of all trades, master of none" probably applies to me, in fairness. Yes, I have quite a lot going on. I do have a business. I've had a business for 30 years, actually. In January, we celebrate our 30th birthday. I'm a podiatrist, and I run a podiatry clinic in Uckfield with my son. My son works with me now. We both work individually, but we both work from the clinic together. We look at all aspects of foot care. We do nail surgery, we do biomechanics, orthotics, diabetic foot care. I have a postgraduate diploma in diabetes, and it's a great job. It's been a great job ever since I started it, since I started training. I was a pharmacy technician when I was in my sort of late teens, early 20s, and then I went back to university to study to do podiatry, and it's been a fantastic job. It also kind of connects with everything else I do, because it allows me to have half an hour sessions one-to-one with local people. So we get to talk about all sorts of subjects and things that are going on in the town and sort of all sorts of stuff. So it's a really great job, really enjoy it. And of course, I can just pop in that we were sole trader. We won the Sole Trader Award at the last Business Awards in 2022, which was absolutely amazing. So yeah, we have that to our name as well. So really pleased with that.
Congratulations. Well, I hope you've got an entry in this year as well.
We have whether we'll get to the final three or not, who knows.
Oh no, congratulations. Yeah, so yeah, running a business, and obviously it's a people-centered business, if you like. You're seeing people all the time. I guess that dovetails nicely into your councillor work and becoming the town mayor.
It does, and it's the same with Ridgewood. It just gives you the opportunity to maybe have your feet on the ground a little bit more and find out, you know, how people tick and actually things that worry them. During COVID, just before we shut down, the whole world shut down, patients were very, very worried about how they were going to get food. You know, families couldn't get to them. And I was talking to people, and I was lucky enough to have sort of 3 friends who all came together with me, and we set up the COVID boxes. And that came very much from listening to people and hearing, you know, how worried they were, what they were going to do. And even with Ridgewood, with the community lunch and the things we do there, that's come about because a lot of my patients are elderly. So, you know, we're supporting them in the community. So, yeah, all 3 things tie together really, which is good.
What you're saying really, Karen, is you like a good gossip and a good chat, don't you? Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
I couldn't possibly comment, Mr. Noble.
There we go. So to become town mayor, you must first, of course, be an Uckfield town councillor. So let me ask you this one. Why did you volunteer to become a town councillor? And remind us when that happened.
I became a town councillor in 2019, which was just before COVID, May 2019. I was actually co-opted. So I came there was an election and there wasn't a place for a space filled for Ridgewood where I live. So I was actually a co-opted councillor in the beginning. I was persuaded by friends that I should stand. I wasn't really sure about it at the time, and I did say no a couple of times to start with. But I do believe in community. I really strongly believe in community, and I do think you have to get involved and you have to give back a little bit. And I've always done voluntary stuff since I was at school, so it kind of fitted in with that. So I guess that's the fluffy reason. The main reason was I wanted to get a car park and extension for Ridgewood Village Hall, which is still a work in progress. But yeah, the 2 sort of came together really.
Some things are a slow burn, aren't they?
A slow burn, yeah.
So, yeah, okay. So you became a councillor. You were sort of co-opted to join the council. And tell me, 15 councillors, is that right? Is that roughly the right number?
Yeah, there's 15 councillors that sit across the town, and there are the wards of Ridgewood, Newtown, Uckfield North, East and West. Most of the wards have 3 representatives, and there's just 2 in West Ward. Yeah. So there's 3 of us up in Ridgewood.
Okay. And there you are, proudly with your chain, and your deputy mayor, Spike Mayhew, who was
That was at the expo. That was at the expo,
of
Wimbledon
course,
Expo last week. Yeah.
Yeah. Spike was the former mayor of this parish, and there you are again. You and Spike, you see more of him than you do of your husband, don't you? I think at the
Spike
moment.
is my council husband. I have known Spike for 20 plus years. In fact, his wife was my children's childminder. Spike is a very good friend of mine. I've known him a very long time, and we do have quite a lot of fun, it has to be said. And here we are with the former deputy mayor, the lovely councillor Donna French, who made those scarecrows for the council allotment scarecrow competition. So yeah, we were having afternoon tea with the scarecrows, obviously,
afternoon tea with scarecrows. All the kind of things you get to do as mayor, really exciting, aren't they? Afternoon tea with scarecrows.
It's being a town councillor, you get to meet a lot of fabulous people. You get out, you do sorts of things. I mean, I have been involved in the Golden Jubilee celebrations for the late Queen. We were obviously involved in when she passed away, in those very sombre occasion. But it's quite a big thing. We were with Jane King, who was the High Sheriff, actually when the Queen's death was announced. Well, you wouldn't normally be in a place like that, which was quite something. We've been involved in beacon lighting for the commemoration of World War I, D-Day. We've done remembrance parades. We've met businesses, charities, and now, of course, as mayor, you can dig a little bit deeper. So I get to meet lots of other people, really.
Before you get into the mayoral bit, what experience have you had then as a councillor in the last 5 years or so, serving on the council? What other things have you done?
What have I done? Well, I think probably the thing that I'm most known for is I chaired Uckfield Town Council Planning Committee for the last 3 years, just before I took on the mayor role. And it's probably been the most challenging 3 years for the planning committee ever, with all of the speculative developments that have come in, because we haven't had a local plan. And myself and Councillor Jackie Love, who obviously was the former mayor, along with the planning committee, have got very involved in supporting residents in looking at planning applications. We had learnt the national planning policy formula, which unfortunately they've all just policy framework, which they've all just decided to change now. But we have supported residents. We have been at appeals. We have faced cases. We've spoken up. And I think for us, that's probably been the biggest learning curve. I knew very little about planning before, and we can hold our own now in a room with planning cases and give residents a chance to have their voice. So probably that's the biggest experience, and probably the biggest thing that people know me for in the last 3 years. Okay,
cool. Claire?
Well, I guess to my shame, I know very little about the structure of local government, to be honest. I'm obviously aware of councillors and mayors and things. I just wonder whether you could sort of enlighten us really about the structure of the town council and what kind of things it actually gets involved in.
So Uckfield Town Council is quite an unusual town council in as much as it's one of about 80 super town councils. It has an expenditure of over £1.7 million annually. Which is obviously a lot to process and look after. That money's made up from the precept, from everyone's council tax. It's also, a third of it's generated by our own income stream. So most people probably don't think of the town council as being a business, but it is a business, and it has to have an income like everybody else. And we have room hire at the Civic Centre. We have leases, Foresters Hall, Ridgewood. Those are places that are sort of leased out and hired out. We have the Luxford restaurant. We have events programmes. We do quite a lot of entertainment programmes at the Civic Centre. We do sports pitches and open space hire. And of course, we look after the allotments in the cemetery. So all of those need managing. We have a staff of about 30 people who work anywhere from caretakers to ground staff, the office staff, the Luxford girls. all behind the scenes. People have no idea how much work goes on, non-councillor work behind the scenes. We have a fantastic team of staff at the Town Council, which quite frankly, without them and the Town Clerk, Holly, the councillors wouldn't be able to exist. So it's a business. The councillor side of it is we're governed by something called standing orders, which is basically a set of legally binding rules which are set by government. We're grassroots government. We're right down at the bottom. Some people probably think there's no point to us. I personally think we're one of the most important areas of government. We're apolitical, which means that the voices of residents can be heard without fear or favour of a party whip. So we can speak out for the residents. We can speak out on planning, as I just said before. But the standing orders basically lay down the rules for all of that. We have 3 committees: environment, leisure, general purposes, planning, 2 subcommittees for finance and personnel. And those standing orders basically tell us how we can run that, what we can do as councillors. And once a year, we then elect chairs for each of those committees, and then we elect the mayor and the deputy mayor. So it's a business, and it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work during the day. It's a lot of work in the evening. A lot of our officers have to come to meetings in the evening because a lot of us work during the day. And councillors aren't paid. Our staff obviously are paid, but councillors aren't paid. In theory, we're volunteers. We get a very basic allowance. A couple of people have been surprised that I haven't given up my job whilst being mayor, because I think they all think that I'm suddenly going to have a massive mayoral salary. I'm not. I'm still a councillor volunteer. It is a shame. I would put in for that, but I think the deputy town clerk who runs the finances may say no. So yes, it's an organisation, it's a business, and there's an awful lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, both by staff, and there's an awful lot of really good councillors who you don't hear from, who are beavering away representing their residents. They don't say a lot, but if you've been one of those residents or groups or volunteers that have been supported by one of the councillors, you will have some idea how hard they've worked for you. So there's a fantastic team, and the mayor is just literally the front for that, and behind it there's an incredible team of people.
Amazing. Thank you for that. That's really impressive, actually, an explanation of how it all works. And actually, probably, like you say, one of the most important parts of the governmental body, if you like, for the UK to local residents. You know, it's the most impactful, I imagine, for local people and what happens in their daily lives and so on. So, yeah, really important.
It is. The town council is also able to signpost. You know, people come to us, either councillors or the officers, to, you know, if they have a problem, if they have an issue, and we can direct them to where that issue maybe can be solved if we can't solve it. Obviously there's higher up, there's district council, there's county council, and we can push back as well. You know, if district councils make decisions that, you know, maybe are having a discussion about a decision that maybe we don't like, or we don't think we're going to like, you know, we can feed into that. We're consultees. We can feed into that. We can push back. But I just think we are incredibly important. We maybe keep everyone else's feet on the ground. The people up the food chain don't have local knowledge. We do. So it's important that we represent that local knowledge.
Amazing. Thank you for that. And I guess also, I have no idea how you become a mayor. How do you become a mayor? Do you get elected, or how does that happen? You
do get elected. So in once a year at the statutory full council meeting, where those standing orders are agreed, those rules and regulations, all the chairs of committees are elected. You can only be a chair of a committee for 3 years maximum. You're re-elected every 12 months. And at that election, we nominate for a mayor and a deputy mayor, and then if there's more than one person standing, obviously there's an election, and then the job of the mayor, the very first job of the mayor, is then to go through the process of electing the deputy mayor. So your other town councillors elect you, and it's a huge privilege. It's an honour to be elected by your peers, because those people are probably the people that know you the best, and you know, if someone puts their trust in you to to chair a full council, to be chairman, the front person for your council, then that's a huge honour. So yeah, you're elected by your fellow councillors.
Well, good for you. Congratulations. And it's lovely to meet you. I've not actually met you before, Karen, so I'm very pleased to meet you today.
Thank you.
Very good. So, Karen, your fellow councillors elected you as mayor. So a vote of confidence from within your own ranks, if you like, which is lovely, isn't it? A lovely commendation on your leadership abilities and so on. Obviously, you need to say yes to become mayor. You put yourself forward. You know, no one's elected unless they want to be mayor. What do you want to achieve during your time as mayor, Karen?
So you don't put yourself forward. Other people nominate you, and then obviously you have the choice whether you withdraw or not. Yeah. So it's not quite like the London mayors who it's a whole electoral process. So other councillors nominate you. The former mayor, Jackie, who has been mayor for 3 years and has done an incredible job, she really focused on residents, which is really important. And I have tweaked that slightly, that the two things I'm probably most passionate about is my business and my volunteering. And I think the two go hand in hand. I think volunteers, we have an incredible volunteer base in Uckfield. I don't know of any other town that has such an amazing volunteer base. If you type into Google activities for the over 60s, you'll come up with probably 6 pages of groups that are there. We have Carnival, the Bonfire Society, we have Wild on the Field that obviously the council run, we have the Lions who do the Family Fun Day. We have so many different events. I mean, they're just to name just a few. And then we have local groups, many local groups in this town that support everybody from babies right the way through to the elderly. And we want to keep that going. I used the phrase last week that Uckfield is a town with a village soul, and it is. It still feels like it's a village. It still feels everyone comes together, everyone knows one another. But we need some succession planning. A lot of the people that run these groups are getting older themselves, and they need some support. And we have an amazing business unit, obviously the Chamber of Commerce heads that, and we need to try and get the businesses involved with some of those volunteer groups to support them. Yes, with money, obviously all volunteer groups need money, but it's not always about money. Sometimes it's about skill sets, and business have skill sets. Yeah. We have some great community champions that just literally off the top of my head, we have Robert Mugridge in Tesco's, who is a fantastic community champion from Tesco's, and he gets involved in lots of community things and just now involved in resetting up the youth club. We have Jane Atherton from Simmons Gainford, who you know very well, Ian, like I do, who stepped in to be treasurer of Ridgewood Village Hall when we were struggling to sort out a treasurer. Now Ian Ridley from the Highlands has just stepped in to take over from her. And we have Matt, his son, who's very involved in providing community lunches, and I can't not mention Chris Thorne, because obviously Chris Thorne and Thorns is a huge support with businesses on many ways of volunteers across the town. So we have a lot, but we need more, and we need people who can maybe stand in and do roles, maybe some of those treasurer roles or secretary roles that these little groups can no longer find, these charities are struggling for. And we also need to coordinate a wish list of what people need. Do they need painting? Do they need a roof? Do they need a window? Is there businesses out there, not necessarily always free, sometimes maybe matching funds, but is there a way that we can match businesses to support volunteer groups? And that's my focus for the next 12 months, is seeing if we can work with the Chamber, work with businesses, work with Wilden Volunteering, and see if we can kind of bring those two together and look at how we can keep all these wonderful things going in Uckfield, going for the future, as we're bringing in new people, how we catch people in that.
So would you say that is the most important thing for you within the community, to encourage businesses to step up and support the third sector more than they're doing so at the moment?
Your question was, what's the most important thing
Yeah.
in the community?
And-
The
yeah.
most important thing in the community is people and health and well-being. We have old and new people coming into our town, and we need to find ways to integrate them and get them involved. And what better way to do that through volunteering and through businesses? So the most important thing in our community is the people that live here and giving them the best quality of life that we can. And right now, I think Uckfield is the most amazing place to live in this little corner of the southeast of England. How lucky are we? And we need to keep that going. So what I want to achieve is bringing those two things together for the most important thing, which is the people that live here.
Okay, that's really interesting. Yeah, thank you for that. And look, you know, we'll talk to you guys as in the Chamber of Commerce. So we recognise that we've got a part to play in this, and definitely there's opportunity to move forward in the future and improve it even more than the nice sort of environment that we have currently here in Uckfield. So all good. Claire, you have a question.
Well, yeah, well, actually, I have a very important question. But before that, I just wonder, I'm just thinking about what you've been talking about there, about businesses and local communities and organisations and so on. It's about how businesses can connect. I mean, you were saying, you know, treasury roles and secretarial roles, that kind of thing that you're looking for in these local organisations. I mean, for my part, I'm a treasurer. I'm a treasurer of several organisations on a volunteer basis, but also I have a team who I'm sure a lot of them live locally, and I'm sure will be very happy to volunteer. So it's a case of how they find those organisations that need their skill and reach out to them, really. So that'd be interesting to see how that develops.
And that's what.
Sorry, Karen. Let me just say we can definitely help with that, Claire.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Definitely help with that.
And that's what we need to work through. Is we have the Wealdon Volunteering, which is an amazing group of people headed up by Judith. They have lots of ideas on how businesses can come together with volunteers, and what we need to look at is how we can link volunteers to go to the volunteering centre, to give them their list, to say what they need, and then work with Judith to connect to the businesses. And somehow that's the conversations as mayor that I need to facilitate and try and get started. So that's the aim.
Brilliant. Absolutely admire that. That's fantastic. So I guess on a bigger scale, I mean, when you come to the end of your term, I wonder what you'd like to be known at. What would you, when people think of you as a mayor, how would you like to be remembered?
Ian warned me about this question, and I've had this question since Tuesday, and I have changed my mind on what I'm going to say so many times. I hope that I'm a team player. I never want anybody to think that I do anything without the backing of a team. I really strongly believe that as a community you come together and you achieve great things, but you achieve great things together. There's no one person. So I never want anybody to think that I was that one person who took the credit for stuff, because that's not how it works, and that's important to me. So I don't want people to think of me like that. I do want people to go, she was really honest. Sometimes, even when it wasn't the popular thing to be, she was really honest, and she stuck her head above the parapet and got shot down, but at least she was honest about it. So I guess that. But I guess ultimately, whether I'm a mayor, a podiatrist, a wife, a mum, a grandma, a daughter, I just want people to think I tried my best. I want people to look at that name on that board, which means so much to me in the council offices and actually made me cry, was to go, do you know, she really tried. Sometimes she got it, sometimes she succeeded, but even if she didn't succeed, she really did her best. And I guess that's what I want people to remember, is I really tried for the residents, for Uckfield, to do my very best.
Well, I'm sure you will achieve that, and you certainly have a passion for Uckfield and all the local things that go on. So that certainly comes across. So you're a winner on that already.
Thank you. I love my town. I love my...
Someone said about you, Karen, didn't they, that it's like you're like a stick of rock. You know, if you open you up, you have Uckfield written through the middle. You know,
I come from East Grinstead, and the interesting thing is I'm equally, well, probably less so now, but as passionate about where I grew up. And obviously now we've been joined together under this electoral banner, which makes me smile because I just feel Uckfield's given me a wonderful life. It's given my children a fantastic start in their life. And, you know, that's how it works. You now give something back. And so I am very passionate about Uckfield and all of the people that are in it.
So we're going to sort of draw this to a close shortly, Karen, but you touched on about the opportunity for businesses to lend their skill sets to volunteering roles and the third sector. What do you think the chamber and businesses can really do to help? You know, what action needs to happen, do you think?
I think we need to facilitate conversation. I mean, obviously, I've only been mayor since May. I've badgered a few people with this already, yourself included in. And we need to work on how this is going to work. And as I said before, I think Judith at Wealdon Volunteering is going to be a key stakeholder in this. And I think it's about networking the two. The Wealdon Volunteering are putting on a volunteering fair on Saturday, October the 12th.
Okay.
And all the groups of volunteer groups will be invited to attend that. And it would be really fantastic if we could get some businesses involved with that who are involved with volunteering.
Okay.
And maybe then we can encourage businesses to come to that, talk to volunteers, and that would be a really good start to start that conversation.
Okay.
And then how we put that in a more formal setting, we need to work on.
Okay, so that's Saturday the 12th of October.
Yep.
Do you know the times off the top of your head?
I think it's 10 till 4, something like that. It's during the day.
And that's in the Weald Hall?
It is.
It is. Okay. So there's a date for your diary, Claire, for you and your team. And
Yes.
for anyone else that's watching this podcast or catching up on the show later, Saturday, 12th of October, between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. in the Weald Hall, volunteering fair, which is really, really good. Now, something's happening on the 10th of August. Karen, tell us a little bit about that and the opportunities for businesses to get involved in that one.
So the 10th of August is Weald on the Field, which is Uckfield Town Council's music festival. It is a fantastic day. I think this is year 7. It might be year 8, but I think it's year 7. And I believe it was pretty much started up by Councillor Donna French and our lovely Holly right back at the beginning. It is an amazing day. We have live music, some local, mainly local, but some branching out a little bit. We've got food stalls, local craft stalls. It's all on the Luxford Field. It's free to come. It's 11 till 7, and it is just the most fantastic day. But the town council, like any business, needs some sponsors. We need some sponsorship, and there's some great sponsorship opportunities. And if you contact Holly at the town council, she can give you the details. But basically, silver, gold, or premier, which I can see here, £100, £250, or £500. Gets you some a name on a banner, gets you some advertising, and gets you involved. It's a fantastic day. Please come along, enjoy it. And businesses out there, please help us put this on, because it's a fantastic day for Uckfield.
Really good. The Chamber of Commerce are sponsoring. We're a premier sponsor. You might have seen one of the slides that go through if you're watching this rather than just listening to it. We have our banner on the bottom of the stage, the Chamber of Commerce, but there's opportunities for other business space around the perimeter of the field. And, you know, just to give something back to the community as well, to help this thing go ahead. You've heard from Karen the pressure on the budgets of the town council today already, and of course the town council put this event on for the Uckfield public, and obviously it cost the council something to put it on, but the more they can get back in sponsorship revenue, that will be really, really helpful to them. It is a great day. I don't know, Gordon Manklow is pressing the buttons in the background. If we can go back a slide, Gordon, to the previous slide that we had with the flyers on for Wood on the Field. There was a burger that was just the biggest burger. No, not that one. There was another one, the picture of a burger. That's the one. Can you see that picture of the burger there? What a burger that is. I want one of them. I want one of them now.
Well, it is lunchtime, Ian.
I know. Look at that burger. I'm going to have one of them on the 10th of August. If you're just listening to this and not watching the podcast version, you won't know what I'm talking about, but never mind. It should be really, really good. So, Karen, anything else that you'd like to say, or Claire, anything else that you'd like to ask? Let me ask Claire first. Anything else that you'd like to ask Karen, Claire?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I'm fascinated about the whole story of this, how you became mayor and learning more about the local government. So thank you for that.
Good. And Karen, anything else that you'd like to add?
I just thank you for the chance to do the podcast, and thank you for giving me the chance last week to speak to the Chamber. I'm not a public speaker. Someone did say I don't have the voice for radio or the face for telly, so this is a whole new experience for me. But I have been really warmly received, and I've had some lovely comments back from some of the businesses, and some unexpected people have paid me some, really good compliments for what we're trying to do. So I really appreciate that, and I just hope over the next 12 months we can, sort of get that voice heard a bit more and try and bring these two communities together. That would be great. Thank you.
You're very welcome, and thank you for mentioning last Thursday. I'd sort of momentarily forgotten. At the 11th hour, you stepped in to be our speaker when our speaker from the county council was unable to join us at the last minute. So thank you very much for doing that indeed. And I've heard some brilliant positive responses to what you had to say. Just yesterday, people were telling me how much they enjoyed you. So thank you very much indeed. So we're just going to wrap this up. Thank you, Karen, for joining us.
Thank you.
Just a few parish notices before we leave you this time. We have our next Chamber Networking Breakfast on Friday, the 9th of August. This is open for booking now via the Chamber website. And this is going to be at Raisted, one of our charity members. Lovely centre down on the Broyle there, just outside Ringmer. And there'll be opportunities for tours of the Raisted Centre, as well as enjoying a continental breakfast. At the Chamber Networking Breakfast, everyone has an opportunity of a 60-second elevator pitch. And we have a speaker from UK Growth Coach, a guy called Tim Rylett, who's funny enough, Tim was our first ever podcast guest back in May 2023. So Tim is going to be speaking at this breakfast next month. And then following on from that, we have our next podcast, of course, in a month's time. And I'll just talk more about that at the end of the show. And then we have our virtual networking on the 4th of September. We're missing out August, but on Wednesday, the 4th of September, we have our virtual networking. This is where we meet online. Our members meet online. If any other businesses want to join us that aren't members, they just need to ask me for the sign-in details. And our speaker on this occasion is a lovely lady called Davina, who runs the Women's Institute in Uckfield. And Davina has this, she's almost as mad as you, I think, Karen. I hope she doesn't sue me over that comment. She wants to paint the town pink. She wants to paint Uckfield pink.
Oh, I'm all for that.
For a very good cause, of course, in all seriousness, breast cancer awareness in October. So she's going to be telling us all about that on the 4th of September. So
I think the mayor and the deputy mayor ought to dress in pink as well. I can see the deputy mayor in pink.
What a great idea. What a great idea. All the best ideas are made on this podcast.
Pink tutus all round.
Sorry, Claire?
So is it pink tutus all round?
That'll be the one. Yeah, you will be a real man to wear pink, I have to say. So there and finally, just to tell you about our next members meeting. This is for our members only, and we are visiting Uckfield College again on Wednesday, the 11th of September. Members only. The Uckfield College are a member of the Chamber of Commerce, and we were last there in September 2022. It is a really good meeting, opportunity to see inside the new building. Many of us have had children or been there ourselves as students, and it has changed quite a bit. Recently been given outstanding Ofsted status, which is marvellous, and there's some really good things happening at the college. So we will be talking about bridging that gap between education and the world of work, which is really vitally important. And we want our businesses to help all they can to do just that and give our young people the best possible chance in life. So that's the members meeting on the 11th of September. And then we're back here, as I said, 29th of August, doing it all again. I'm not sure whether it's Claire or Chris Dowling joining me on that occasion, but there'll be two of us presenting the show, and our guests on that occasion in 4 or 5 weeks' time at Dawson Hart Solicitors, who are a brilliant firm of lawyers in the town. They're going to be sharing some stuff with us about all things legal matters and how they support charities as well, Karen. So make sure you tune into that show and listen to what they've got to say. So I think that's all from me and Claire and Karen. Thank you very much for joining us, and thank you to Gordon in the background who's been producing the show. Good afternoon and enjoy the rest of your day.